Hi. Test. Test. Hello, can you hear me out there? You are watching this and you can hear me? Please say something in the chat. All right, Ellen says she can hear us.
Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Welcome to Parking Lot Buddha.
Ellen, can you hear Echo or me?
Hello? Ellen, can you hear us? Ellen, can you hear us? Give us a nod one way or the other if you can hear us. Good. Good. Now, can you hear us now? Can you hear it now?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Well,
Everyone. Jan and Michael, can you hear me? Welcome to the inaugural parking lot Sangha. We have 13 people here with us outside today, and more of you on the YouTube live stream. So welcome all of you. I want you to note that the Buddha is practicing safe social distancing by wearing his mask. Okay, and we're grateful. We're grateful that you can be here and participate with all of us, whether it's live stream or in person in the parking lot. We dodged the rain, so we're on. Game on. We're going to recite the three refuges, and we're going to do it in a jazz pattern, call and response. I'm going to say a line, then you're going to repeat it after me. All right? Are we ready? Three refuges. I go for refuge to Buddha. My deeply awakened mind, a living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the path of mindful living, leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment. The way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to the Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation. Which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that the three jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion. And to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety, in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. We're not going to do the Heart Sutra this morning. The Dharma talk is on the Heart Sutra. But before we do, I'd like to wish all of you a happy Father's Day. Now, the reason that I say all of you is that in the Buddhist thought process, throughout beginningless space and time, every one of you has been my father. For that, I deeply apologize. I'm sure I was not an easy child for any of my parents. Same for Mother's Day, okay? But the Dharma talk today is entitled, Where is the Other Shore? And it's an examination of Thich Nhat Hanh's 2014 translation of the Heart Sutra, where he begins this book, it's called The Other Shore, by lamenting the original author's not intent, because the intent is perfect, but that there were 4 words that would have made emptiness so much easier to understand, especially for those of us of the Western culture. So before we get into the actual translation, a few words of explanation. Now we know the Heart Sutra to be called the Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. In Sanskrit, the Sanskrit title, Param, means the other shore. Ita means gone. Prajna means insight. Hridaya means heart or essence. And sutra is a scripture. So the meaning of the title, the Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra, literally means the insight that brings us to the other shore. Now I would like to read Thich Nhat Hanh's translation of the Heart Sutra. Avalokiteshvara, while practicing deeply with the insight that brings us to the other shore, suddenly discovered all of the five skandhas are equally empty. And with this realization, he overcame all ill being. Listen, Shariputra, this body itself is emptiness, and emptiness itself is the body. This body is not other than emptiness, and emptiness is not other than this body. The same is true of feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. Listen, Shariputra, all phenomena bear the mark of emptiness. Their true nature is the nature of no birth, no death, no being, no non-being, no defilement, no purity, no increasing, no decreasing. Now here's where it gets interesting, because I struggled with the concept of emptiness for so long because I equated emptiness with void. And emptiness is anything but void. When we realize the true nature of emptiness in all things, then everything becomes available to us. So here's the next part of the sutra. That is why, talking to Shariputra, that is why in emptiness, body, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousnesses, here's the phrase, are not separate self-entities. The 18 realms of phenomena, which are the 6 sense organs, the 6 sense objects, and the 6 consciousnesses, are also not separate entities. The 12 links of interdependent arising and their extinction are also not self-entities. Ill-being, the causes, the end of ill-being, and the path, insight and attainment, are also not separate self-entities. Whoever can see this no longer needs anything to attain. Bodhisattvas who practice the insight that brings us to the other shore see no more obstacles in their mind. And because there are no more obstacles in their mind, they can overcome all fear, destroy all wrong perceptions, and realize perfect nirvana. All Buddhas in the past, present, and future, by practicing the insight that brings us to the other shore, are all capable of attaining authentic and perfect enlightenment. Therefore, Shariputra, it should be known that the insight that brings us to the other shore is a great mantra, the most illuminating mantra, the highest mantra, a mantra beyond compare, the true wisdom that has the power to put an end to all kinds of suffering. Therefore, let us proclaim a mantra to praise the insight that brings us to the other shore. Gate, gate, haragate, harasamgate, bodhi svaha. Excuse me. I think that was profanity. That's all right. Now, I have a great appreciation for the concept of the other shore. Especially in these times in which we find ourselves living. It is well beyond time when remaining stagnant and silent about the significant and important issues of our time that have been going on for centuries is even acceptable in any way, or even tolerable. In Dante's Inferno, there's a wonderful quote that addresses this very issue. The hottest places in hell are reserved for those who, in times of great moral crisis, maintain their neutrality. The question remains, however, where is the other shore? To answer this question, we have to go back to Thich Nhat Hanh's book on the Heart Sutra in his translation. He emphasizes that there are no separate self-entities under any set of conditions. Everything is interdependent. Nothing stands alone. Which brings us to the premise that all things, then, are interdependent. There is a word that Thich Nhat Hanh uses to describe this phenomena, and the word is interbeing. Interbeing. Now, he uses the meaning of interbeing throughout his poem, a very famous poem, Please Call Me by My True Names. If you have not read that, I would encourage you to go online, look it up. Thich Nhat Hanh, Please Call Me by My True Names. If we incorporate the term interbeing into the Heart Sutra in place of emptiness, it becomes clear that everything is interbeing. All of us are interbeings. We are not in any regard, but we are inextricably connected in every way. Now that includes everything. All of the ugly, and all of the rainbows and unicorns. So we've heard a lot these days about privilege. Now, as a victim, this may sound strange to you, but as a victim of beginningless and endless racism, I, as a white and privileged old man, need to feel the rage of those victims of color and apply the right action and right mindfulness to do what I can do to take a stand and relieve the suffering that racism brings about. Why? Because I am an interbeing with every black man and woman and child. As that police officer who exhibited an extreme abuse of power and authority while kneeling on the neck of a black man until he died, I need to feel the severe guilt and shame deserving of that event, and feel the anger and rage at the abuse of power. Why? Because I am an interbeing with that abuser of power. And I need to apply right action and right mindfulness to do whatever I can do to help relieve the suffering of that police officer who abused his power. As an interbeing with all LGBTQ persons throughout beginningless and endless time and space, I need to feel the suffering of ongoing and discrimination and feel the rage toward a president. I'm going to put that on pause for a minute. Thank you for those first responders everywhere. And the military guys. I'm one of those. As an interbeing with all LGBTQ persons throughout beginningless, endless time and space, we will finish this part in just a moment. I need to feel the suffering on ongoing discrimination, I'm going to start that all over again. As an interbeing with all LGBTQ persons throughout beginningless and endless time and space, one more. He's parking right up the street. Here we go again. As an interbeing with all LGBTQ persons throughout beginningless and endless time and space, I need to feel the suffering of ongoing discrimination and rage toward a president who would revoke the rights that I shouldn't even have to have legislated in the first place because they are human rights. Because of interbeing, I need to apply right action and right mindfulness and do what I can to take a stand and help relieve the suffering of those LGBTQ victims of ongoing discrimination. As an interbeing with the President of the United States, I need to feel the guilt and shame of my ego-driven and manic personality that drives my decision-making in such awful and discriminatory ways. Nations of refugees of different sexual identity than me. Because of interbeing, I need to apply right action and right mindfulness to do what I can to take a stand and help relieve the suffering of all of the president's victims, even if all I can do is vote in November. This brings us back to the question I posed at the beginning of this Dharma talk. Where is the other shore? After reading Thich Nhat Hanh's book, The Other Shore, and thinking about it, this has become much more clear to me. If I am exercising right mindfulness and right action in every situation, understanding my own interbeing with all living things, then I also understand this. I am the other shore. You are the other shore. I equate it back to when I was a sailor. I raced sailboats. We would do night races across Lake Michigan at night and then back 2 nights later. And one of the only things we could see in the middle of the night, if it wasn't cloudy, were the brilliance of the stars. If it was cloudy, we could see the lights from some of the tankers. But the one thing we always looked for was the light from the lighthouses, because we could tell where we were through the light of the lighthouses on the other shore. I am. I choose to be a lighthouse. You are. It is my sincere hope that you will always continue to be a lighthouse that directs people to the other shore through your right action and your right mindfulness. We are the beacon of hope, the beacon of light on the shore to which suffering sentient beings can look for hope in the darkness of ignorance, greed, anger, and victimization. In interbeing, we are all the other shore. May it be so as we go through these very dark and troubling times. Prepare yourselves for meditation. And we bow. We are going to close with the closing gatha. We will do it the same way. For all unskillful action ever committed by me, since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Buddhist teachings for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passion, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to penetrate. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain. Thank you all for joining us on this inaugural parking lot Sangha event. Who knows what we'll be doing in the near future. Uh, Sooner or later, I hope we can meet as usual inside the temple. The meetings in Garfield Park on Saturday, please don't forget them for all Sangha members who want to attend, get together, and stay in contact. For all of you who have joined us on YouTube live stream, thank you very, very much. And we are dismissed.